صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله صلى الله عليك يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة ما خاب من تمسك بكم وأمن من لجأ إليكم يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. One last and final time. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليكم جميعا يا شهداء كربلاء ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إلا المودة في القربى. آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد. How do we build a bond of loyalty with the Imam of our time? May Allah hasten his reappearance. Is a very important question that we must have an answer to, because it is an all-inclusive question. Meaning, if you genuinely ask this type of a question, that means you encompassed already the belief in Allah, His Messenger, His Imams, and His Messiah. All of that formulates the complete aqeedah, the complete theology. When we ask, how do we form a better relationship, a better bond of loyalty with the Imam of my time? That means, oh Imam, I already recognize your existence. This isn't a methodology or a research effort to finding the Imam or trying to prove whether or not he exists, but rather it's me asking, I want to get closer to you. And so that means there's an acknowledgement of the existence of the Imam. However, one of the most interesting ways to develop a stronger relationship with anything is to retrack your steps as to how you fell upon that thing which you want to strengthen your relationship with. So we understand the importance and the existence of the Imam, but in order to strengthen our bond, we have to go back and realize, why do we even believe in the Imam to begin with? Why do we hold the Imam so dear and recognize his importance in society? But I already know that the Imam is a reality, the son of the 11th Imam. There's no need for me to track that. But when you affirm his authenticity, it creates a more realistic picture. Because to many people, when you give them these characteristics, a man who has lived for over 1,000 years will come back at the end of the time, at the end of the day, to save the world, fill it with justice, after it has been filled with injustice, sounds like a fictitious plot. Sounds like a movie theme, where at the end of the day, the good guys will win. And this is always associated with fictition. But in reality, this is reality. And so, deep down inside, there is a recognition of the reality of the Imam of Ahlul Bayt, the 12th awaited Savior. But it does not hurt to go back and validate the authenticity around this Imam to make the Imam more realistic in our hearts. Because deep down inside, everybody recognizes the Imam. We all believe in him by default of being Shia of Ahlul Bayt. Salamullahi alayhim ajma'een. And so that is by default. But how much do you really know about your 12th Imam? Or does it just fly back in the back of your head as a thought? Yeah, he exists. Yeah, he lives long. But I haven't really seen anything that lives like him before. I can't find an example similar to him, but he's the one exception I have to believe in. That generally, if you have strong iman, will sit well with you. But for the most part, 3/4 of the youth that I have dealt with personally, on a personal basis, have trouble accepting this. They wholeheartedly accept Allah's way. They will admit that we have enough respect for our being to recognize that this universe has to have a God. We've accepted that. There's no effort to believe in God in this point. And we've accepted that God, due to your ultimate kindness, you gave us messengers. Because that would be like parents who have a kid, and then as soon as the kid is born, bye-bye, we'll never see you again. No, guide me, send me help, stay with me. Allah sends us messengers. I've accepted that. And I even accept that after those messengers come successors, the Imams of Ahlul Bayt. But what's hard for me to accept, how can one man, over 1,100 years, can live, and he's amongst us, and we can't see him, but he's still around. And eventually he'll return and fill the world with justice. I've seen movies like that. So in order to get rid of any of this fictitious feeling that lingers inside our hearts, let's retrace and examine who the Imam of Ahlul Bayt is that is truly the avenger for Abu Abdullah when he will return. The one who was foreshadowed by Habibullah when he states that there will be a time يَأْتِ زَمَانٌ عَلَى أُمَّتِي الْقَابِضِ عَلَى دِينَهِ كَالْقَابِضِ عَلَى جَمْرَةٍ مِّن نَارٍ. There will be a time upon my ummah, the one who holds on to his or her faith is like somebody holding on to a hot piece of coal. It'll be that difficult to stay a mu'min, a practicing Muslim. These signs are coming, by the way. We can see them as time progresses. What was haram is becoming halal, what halal is becoming haram, and all this is becoming normalized. And you don't dare question any of these because they're now societal norms. La ilaha illallah. These are baby steps, and Rasulullah foreshadowed this. And after that time will appear, there will come a man, min wuldi, from my children, lahmuhu lahmi, he's from my progeny, dammuhu dammi, his blood is my blood, ismuhu ismi, his name is my name, yamla'ul arda qistan wa adla, kama muli'at dhulman wa jura. He will fill the world with justice after it has been filled with injustice. Al-Imam Sahib al-Asri wa zaman, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. The religion of Islam is not exclusive to this Messiah concept. Messianism is not exclusive to Islam Ahlul Bayt at all. Not even Islam Ahlul Sunnah, but also Christianity, also Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Zoroastrianism. All of them adhere to a messianistic figure who will fill the world with justice at the end of the time. And that's why Al-Masih, aka the Messiah, is Jesus Christ in Christendom, Christianity. He is given that name for multiple reasons. They say he would yasih fil ard, he would move and travel the world, spreading peace as much as he can. Or yasih ala ru'us al-yatama wal-fuqara, he would put his hand on the orphan and those who are in need. He would wipe his hand, a gesture of love. And also as the Messiah figure, hence where that term comes from, who will return. Because the Christians always await the second coming, that he will return. And so they believe there has to be a Messiah. Because we will not accept for 1 minute that this world will just be left alone. God, you gave us the text, and you said the text will help you stay in track. Nope. How many people have the book, have the wisdom, have the hadith, but are so far away from it and they use it to hurt others? There will be a time, there will come a time, in which a man will come and interpret this for us. Some people say, no, he will be born. Some say, no, he is already born, because God is too good than to leave the earth without someone epitomizing him. Like one leg from a chair. If you remove him, try sitting on that chair, that leg will collapse. There has to be at least one perfect, infallible, epitomizing, representing God on earth at all times. If not necessarily an infallible, someone who's just a rep of Allah. The question arises, Jesus, peace and blessings be upon him, Prophet Isa alayhi salam, left the world. How many years later did the Holy Prophet of Islam come into place? Because the second to last prophet is whom? Prophet Isa alayhi salam. Prophet Jesus is the second, 124,000 prophets. Who is the 123rd, 999th prophet? Isa. You agree? He's the second to last. There's no prophet in between. There's 500-year gap. What happened there? Is there no prophet representing Allah? His disciples, his representatives, the awliya of Allah, he picked. And he said, these individuals represent God for you on earth. Amongst the first was Butros, they say, Peter, for example, who was killed in the Vatican, and he has a shrine there. He was crucified upside down for teaching the teachings of Jesus, and he was persecuted and hunted down. He would allocate the next successor, the next successor. We have a hadith that the last disciple of Jesus emerged in Mecca by the name of Abdul Munaf ibn Abdul Muttalib, aka Abu Talib, the father of Amir al-Mu'mineen, was a disciple of Prophet Jesus. Because you study his life, he was a muwahhid hanif. He never bowed down to an idol. He never worshipped anything other than one God. And he took the way of Prophet Abraham. And the second to last prophet was whom? Jesus. So he would also try his hardest, striving in spreading the teachings and principles of Prophet Jesus and his mother. And we find that is a wonderful trait that emerged in a society that was so backwards. One person was still epitomizing God at that point. And all of a sudden you have the final and last messenger, Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, emerging. Who takes this divine baton, lives his life, spreads his message, passes it on to the Amir, who passes it on to his sons, all the way to the 12th awaited Imam. But the point is that this is not an exclusive concept in Islam, Ahlul Bayt. The Christians have this belief, and that is Christ will rise one day, fill the world with justice, and we accept that. Of course we do. Judaism also recognizes a messianistic figure. Some claim his name goes by the name of Judah. Others say no, he's from the tribe of Judah, from the lineage of David. Nonetheless, a man will emerge who will rise, fill the world with justice after it was filled with injustice. So in Judaism, our Jewish brothers and sisters also recognize a Messiah figure. Buddhism, even a religion that doesn't necessarily adhere to the Abrahamic way of thinking. Buddhism also recognizes that in the end there has to be someone. And they give him the name of Maitreya. And this individual will come and fill the world with justice. Hinduism, they have a person by the name of Kalki, who will come and emerge at the end of times, when the world is in full destruction and corruption, fill the world with peace. Zoroastrianism, they have an individual, Swaishyant, they call him. He will emerge, fill the world with, as we said, all over again. The point is, every religion has a Messiah figure in place. Some are under the impression that it's only Islam Ahlul Bayt that recognizes the existence of a Messiah figure, a character, who will come at the end of times and fill the world with justice. Not necessarily. And there may be differences in regards to these world religions as to some of the qualities and characteristics, but the point is, at the end, will there come someone or not? Of course there will. In Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they do recognize that there will come an individual, and they give him various names, some of them Abdullah ibn Muhammad or Muhammad ibn Abdullah, but the idea is he is yet to be born, whereas we believe he is already born. And they claim that when he emerges, this role of filling the world with justice will be entrusted on him so heavily that he will protest it. So it's like a paradoxical theme. He is to come and spread justice at the end, but he's going to say, I am not the Mahdi, I am not this individual. He will reject that claim. That is amongst their beliefs. We respectfully deny that. That if you are the Mahdi, you have to know what your role is. You should know who you are, what you are doing. And ultimately this role of Al-Mahdi comes from the term Al-Hidayah. You heard Al-Huda? If you have a sibling or someone in your family, it's a female name. Huda, Hidayah. The masculine, Mahdi, guidance. In Islam, Ahlul Bayt, there are two different terms, guidance and directioning. To direct someone is to say, when they ask you, where is this location? And you say, go 5 paces, right, 1 left, then whatever, then turn, and then across the tree, then you'll get to your destination. That's directing somebody. To guide somebody is to say, where's this location? Give me your hand and I'll take you to it. That is the role of the Mahdi. He'll literally grab you by your hand and lead you to salvation. He wants to say, hey, just take my advice. Go here, go there, go there. X marks the spot. Start digging and you'll find your salvation. That's not what he'll do. He says, you know what? You've strived and struggled enough. My grandfather said there will come a time, it'll be hard to hold on to your faith. Like holding on to a hot piece of coal. Let me remove that coal from your hand. Let me grab that hand and take you to salvation. And the Imam will emerge. The hadiths are so beautiful. He'll teach the world different ways to live. He'll teach them, he'll give them solutions on world crisis, diseases. He'll cure these disgusting diseases that we have. And that's how the society and the global community will all together love and believe in him. Because many are under the impression, if he emerges, how is he going to convince the other side to believe in him? Societies that don't even believe in God, let alone somebody who will be representing God, how are they supposed to be convinced? When he starts answering their questions that they long for answers for. How do we cure certain diseases? The Imam will come with these solutions. One hadith says he'll teach people how to walk on water. Inshallah, that day will come and it'll be very interesting. In any case, the Imam, there's actually one more hadith that's very beautiful. It says that the Imam will be in Yemen. He'll address what it says, Ahlul Sin, China. He'll address them in their native tongue. Within 10 minutes, they'll recognize his authority. How? Back then, the hadith was nullified. How is he here and talking to them? Today, we have TV, we have satellite, we have whatever, we have YouTube, the message can be spread even if you're on Mars. He'll be in one location, he'll talk to them. But of course, when you speak in somebody's native language, it leaves a bigger impact than if you were to speak with an accent or to have subtitles and translations. That is why many false Mahdis emerged, especially after the political uprising in 1991 in Iraq, especially after the downfall of that disgusting establishment in Iraq in 2003. Many Mahdis emerged. Individuals who came and said, I am Sahib al-Zaman, give me allegiance, give me bay'ah. And they have a huge Arabic accents. They can't read the Quran without pronouncing something completely incorrect. If you're Sahib al-Zaman, how are you reading the book which you're representing so incorrectly? There was a show, many of you probably saw it, where a man came up on stage and was like, you know, I am Imam Mahdi and I gave you good news. In 1 week Isa will come, so believe in me. The guy was like, can you read Arabic? Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahimi, Maliki Yawm Ad-Dini. Read right. If Sahib al-Zaman, you can at least read Arabic correctly. If you come from the line of Sayyidul Balagha, Amirul Bayan, Ali ibn Abi Talib, at least take that trait with him. Take it with you. Do a better job if you're going to impersonate Sahib al-Zaman. And therefore, we have to be keen in understanding who and what the Mahdi is, the guide. If you claim to be Sahib al-Zaman, by all means, show me proof. Provide us with these solutions. Give us answers. Show us the way. And the hadiths are very clear that they're the mu'mineen, all of us, inshaAllah, when the moment we lay eyes on him, we'll instantly recognize who he is. We don't need any proof. We don't need any evidence. The mu'min knows the fellow mu'min just by looking at the nur in their face. So what about the mu'min looking at the imam of their time? You won't need any evidence. You'll see him and instantly recognize him. But of course, there are those who will try to oppose his call and oppose his message, and so on and so forth. But with all that being said, it helps to recognize that multiple religions also adhere to messianism and recognize and adhere to this concept that a savior will emerge at the end of the day. What is the authenticity of Sahib al-Zaman in the school of Ahlul Bayt? Because we are alone in this regard. Even our dear fellow Muslims from other schools of thought will disagree. We are alone in this regard. That Sahib al-Zaman is still alive. And he is living. And all of these characteristics that we give to him are legitimate. How do we authenticate that? We have many systems, hadith, authentication, methodologies, so on and so forth. Without getting too deep into that, there are two individuals. I'd like for you all, especially my dear respected youth, to remember their names. Uthman bin Sa'id al-Amri. Repeat. Uthman bin Sa'id al-Amri and Muhammad bin Uthman. These are the two deputies of Sahib al-Zaman. He had 4. All of them are important. Remember them all. But the first 2 are of the utmost importance. because you'll realize why in 1 second. Uthman bin Sa'id al-Amri is the first deputy of Sahib al-Zaman. His son was the second. The third was Hussein bin Rawh. The fourth was Ali bin Muhammad. After Ali bin Muhammad died, before he died, Sahib al-Zaman told him, in 3 days you'll be dead. Announced to the Shia that they have to be patient now. The ghaibatu sughra will end. Al-kubra will begin. Where do they go to? Where are they going to seek their answers from? Go to the ones who narrate our ahadith, the ulama and the maraji', for they are my representatives for you on this earth. The first two wukala, Uthman bin Sa'id al-Amri, these are very important names, brothers and sisters. The least we can do as Shia is remember their names. These are the reps of my imams. I should remember their names. Instead of names, I don't want to get there, but names of celebrities and sport figures and icons who cannot benefit me whatsoever, at least these 4 names. Uthman bin Sa'id al-Amri and Muhammad bin Uthman, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Imams of Ahlul Bayt said they are reliable. We go crazy when one Imam says, trust this person. For example, let's say Zurara bin Ayun. He's reliable, khalas, I don't need to look. Sufficient for me is when one Imam says, we can trust. So whatever he or she says, take from them. Because the Imam gave them the authority to speak in our behalf. Okay. What about when 4 Imams give you? Al-Imam al-Jawad, Al-Imam al-Hadi, Al-Imam al-Askari, Al-Imam Sahib al-Zaman. All of them said to both of these, Al-Amri wabnahu thiqatan. That Al-Amri and his son are reliable. End of discussion. There's no denying this anymore. When 4 Imams, okay, let's say one of them, there was a false narrator. For the second time there's a false narrator. The third time there's a false narrator. The 4th time, how can that, you won the jackpot 4 times, O enemy of the Ahlul Bayt, apparently. Where not once did you prove me wrong, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times, apparently these narrations are wrong when the Imam narrated about a particular individual. In fact, say these individuals did not exist. We don't have a case like that. That would be something unheard of. In actuality, we have 4 Imams. Imam al-Jawad and his son al-Hadi and his son Imam al-Askari and Sahib al-Zaman ultimately all said these 2, Al-Amri and his son, are reliable. Take from them. Okay. Step by step. Uthman bin Sa'id, he announces to the Shia to the Shia, not to the public. Otherwise his life would be in danger. Why does the Imam need to have representatives to begin with? Because your life would be in danger if you come out publicly. And so he announces to his followers and the fellow Shia, I am representing the Imam. I speak and communicate to him directly. If you have any inquiries, send them to me. And so they would send them to Uthman bin Sa'id. Uthman bin Sa'id would give them to whom? Imam Mahdi. He would give them back to whom? Uthman. Uthman would give them back to the people. So they were asking questions. At the time, the Shia major pockets were Ahwaz, Kufa, some from Basra, and a bit from Medina. And whatever remained in Karbala from those who loved Imam al-Hussein too much to leave Karbala over there. So people were writing from all over the world. Qom barely just got established, especially after the presence of a Sayyidah Fatima Ma'suma, Salamullah alayha, and all of these wonderful individuals there. So there were the signs of the Shia there. Of course, the Shia were there since Amir al-Mu'mineen, with Abu Dhar and Ammar and Al-Miqdad, so on and so forth. But as communities, they were small. So what was larger than them? The establishment, Banu Abbas. Especially the Ottoman, Banu Uthman, the Ottoman Empire just rose. It was getting into power. And so as they were getting into power, both of them anti-Shia. So what do? You have to be quiet. Leave a representative. He would write back to them, they would answer him. It became so tight on Uthman bin Sa'id that he couldn't just take a letter, answer it back, give it to Imam Mahdi, answer it, give it back to the people. Before he passed, he announced to his Shia, everybody, my son, Muhammad bin Uthman. Imam Mahdi said he is my next wakil. This person has 4 imams in his resume saying that we approve of you. Imagine that. Imagine you go to 4 Ivy League schools and they say we recognize your credentials. Not 1, not 2, not 4. Harvard, Yale, Princeton, and Brown. MashaAllah. And Oxford for fun. That would be something incredible. Forget these institutions. What about 4 Imams of Ahlul Bayt give you reliability? Then we accept what you say. You said, O Uthman, O one who has 4 in your name of the Imams, that after me comes Muhammad, your son, I accept. There's no need for me to question your judgment at that point. And I look at Uthman, I look at your son Muhammad. You, Muhammad, your situation is becoming very difficult. How are you able to respond back to the Shia? He would tell them, after receiving orders from Imam Mahdi, that write your letters, your inquiries, with invisible writing. So don't use ink, because the establishment would confiscate this. Look at it, find the name that would be signed, go to the prison and execute them. So the Imam would say to Muhammad bin Uthman, let them write with their finger like that. Let them write, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, X, Y, and Z. I have this situation. What is the solution? Signed by me. Empty paper. And the Imam would give them the paper back with his blessed handwriting. He would answer them. How is he able to read? He would perform these miracles. Uthman would tell people that the Imam predicts your death. He would tell you that you're going to have a child. His son Muhammad, the same thing. They were performing these miracles that people, ordinary people, would not be able to perform, except they had a connection. So it was proving to them that they are legitimate. Let's take their word seriously. Before Muhammad dies, he says, everybody, Imam has predicted my death in 3 days. Before I die, he says, follow this Hussein bin Ruh, or Hussein bin Ruh, for he is the 3rd deputy of Sahib al-Asr. Take his word as the word of Allah upon you, for his word represents the word of the Imam, and his word represents Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He dies in 3 days, fulfills a covenant at that point. He predicted death, it happened. The same situation, but it's getting tighter and tighter, and they're choking the Shia establishment at the time at the neck very strongly. And so Hussein bin Ruh works quietly. Before he dies, one last person, Ali bin Muhammad. He does what he can. He represents the Shia. They live discreetly. They're not able to see them. And he is very quiet until right before he dies, he makes one last final announcement. Everybody, this is the end of the minor occultation. Sahib al-Zaman has informed me that these, by the way, the minor occultation was a span of around 69 years. That these years are now coming to an end. People got happy, so is he going to return? No. The major, al-Ghaybatul Kubra, will now begin after my death. May Allah bless you, O Shia, for you have a high status unlike any other. For the companions of the Prophet would see the Prophet and believe in him. You aren't able to see your Imam, yet you still believe in him. Therefore, there is greater reward upon you if you remain patient and forbearant. But who do we go to for questions and answers? Our deen is at jeopardy. Refer back to those who narrate our ahadith, the ulama of Ahlul Bayt, the scholars, the maraji', the mujtahideen, the ayatullah in your community. That person's claim is like the claim of Allah for you on earth. Therefore, we should never take our ulama for granted, for they represent Allah's word to me. Are they speaking on behalf of Allah? No, that's not what's being said at all. Only a naive person would say something like that, and a person who has an agenda of the Ahlul Bayt. These Shias believe that their ulama speak for Allah, and no, that's not the case. They occupy that vacuum that is there in the absence of the Imam. This leads us to an excellent segue. Then what's the point of the Imam being in ghaibah? If you're going to be in ghaibah, and know for sure that we will be led, misled, and all we have are just ulama, how can we deal with that? First of all, have some respect when we refer to our ulama. They themselves, if you read of the plethora of stories regarding what they were able to achieve, how they changed the status quo, and some of the karamat that they exhibited, if you read the interesting stories of Shaykh Murtada al-Ansari, how he has interesting discussions and he sees the Imams of Ahlul Bayt in certain occasions and so on and so forth. Our ulama are not to be taken lightly, brothers and sisters. Number 2, this leads us to an excellent question. A very interesting one as well. That, okay, the Imam said go back to the ulama, the mujtahideen, the mujtahid. But there are so many. And not just that, moreover, they all have their own opinion. Not just that, they all have contradicting opinions in some cases. What do I do at that point? Surely Sahib al-Zaman cannot accept every single opinion. In general, you are mubri' lil-dhimma if you accept any opinion by a legitimate alim, even if they're contradicting. Mubri' lil-dhimma meaning that there is nothing in your conscience, that you can go to Allah and justifiably say, Ya Allah, I just followed an alim deen. If there's something wrong about that certain ruling, it's not on me, because I am not a mujtahid. So I just took their word. And who's to deny their knowledge and their high caliber regarding the ilm that they have and acquired? So you're perfectly fine. But to answer and address this question, multiple opinions, some of which are contradicting. How do I pick and recognize which one is legitimate? Because surely not all of them are God's opinion. You wouldn't lose 2 seconds of sleep if you had 2 deans of medicine at a hospital giving you different opinions. Why would you lose sleep when 2 grand ulama give you different opinions? It's perfectly fine. Because it's their understanding as to what could be Allah's ruling on earth in the absence of the Imams of Ahlul Bayt. So why the necessity of having ulama to begin with? Because as time progresses, different things come into place. Smoking wasn't around during the time of the Holy Prophet. It came years later. So how do we address this? Can I perform this act when I am fasting? The ulama come and address this to you. Not 4 scholars in the 7th century who are stuck there and that's how we rely on our jurisprudence. No, scholars who progress with time, who address these issues. How do I pray on a plane? Because there were no planes during the time of the Holy Prophet. So how do I address that? How do I, when it comes to transferring blood? Because back then, it may not have been a reality. When I transfer blood, is that allowed? Not allowed? Organ donation. Back then, it wasn't necessarily a reality. How do I address that? IV in Ramadan, how do I address that? All these questions, they provide us solutions for. But the thing is, the question can arise, but there are so many opinions from so many scholars. How do I know which one is the right one? Why would the Imam just leave me in this combuzzled state? Again, if 2 grand doctors gave you opinions that were different, but both of them still gave you an answer, you wouldn't lose any sleep. Then why, when it comes to your spirituality, it happens to be the end of the world? When the Imam says, I leave behind for you the ulama in my major occultation, he knows what he's leaving you into. He knows he leaves you into good hands at the end of the day. And so let's not take that lightly. And the next best thing are our scholars of Ahlul Bayt. The last question, why the whole entire scenario of the prolonged life? How come you just can't emerge and live a long life in the public? Let's meet halfway. Not necessarily accepting the other schools of thought's opinions regarding this Messiah, that he is yet to be born, so he's not born, and not necessarily accepting the school of Ahlul Bayt's opinion, that he is born but you can't interact. Let's meet in the middle, that he is born but you can interact with him. He's public. Why can't he just do that? Why must he be hidden, yet live this long life and we're not able to access him? 2 observations. Who says you can't access him? Does the Imam himself not state every 10th of Muharram I'm in Karbala, and every Dhul Hijjah I'm in Hajj? And there's no doubt that every year anniversary of his father's martyrdom, Imam Mohammedhassan Alsheraa is definitely in Samarra. Wherever a person needs help, of course the Imam is present. Then why does his life have to be prolonged? Why can't he just be born? Like our dear brothers from Ahlul Sunnah states. Why can't he just be born? Why does he have to be alive and not accessible? Al-Shaheed Muhammad Baqir al-Sadr, Qaddasallahu Sirah, provides an interesting explanation in his work Al-Imam. He says from an outset, this is not necessarily the reason, but from an outset, somebody who lives through World War I and II, before that, who lives through the Crusades, after that, the Renaissance, who lives through these experiences, when they emerge at the end with a library amount of information, would that not make society at that time more inclined to following the truth when he's able to provide this information? He would say, for example, I saw the fall of one empire and I saw the rise of another. I lived it. I saw it. How much respect do we give to our elders by virtue of them living through history? Then what about a man who's lived through 1,000 years of history? To the Westerner, the secularistic mindset would be one of, you know what, let's take you serious. You've lived the life. You've seen not only the Industrial Revolution, you've seen the Victorian era, you've seen this and that, World War I, II, you've seen the American Revolution, you've seen it all. Tell us about history, tell us where we went wrong, and that's how we'll be able to provide solutions. Now, Ash-Shaheed al-Sadr doesn't say that Allah has prolonged his life in order for him to gain experience. The Imam doesn't need to gain experience. He doesn't know, so he has to live through these moments in order for him to gain and acquire this information. No, but it serves as helpful information when he wants to use it when somebody questions him from a non-Islamic perspective. You can't deny that if somebody lived through 1,000 years of experience, that he's more knowledgeable than you. He or she's more bright than you. So at that extent, at that level, recognize his reality. And of course, if you see someone who's lived for 1,000 years already, you can make the assessment that this person probably is on the right path of Allah, because that's something impossible. But moreover, if you are an intellectual individual, you will be able to appreciate him. You can't deny his wisdom at that point. Secondly, the Imam being alive, and this phrase, inactive, is a very, very wrong and unjust thing to say for the Imam. The same way the angels are not able to be seen, yet are very much active upon earth, is the way Imam al-Zaman alayhi salam is not able to be seen, but very, very much active on earth. We as a Shia should not be alive today. Should not be alive. From the amount of persecutions we saw, from the Holocaust that was brought upon us in only the last few years, either in Iraq or in empires that waged war, who slaughtered tens of thousands in days, by the Seljuks, by the Ottomans, so on and so forth. When it was Al-Mutawakkil al-Abbasi's turn, he would sever limbs from anybody who walked to Abu Abdullah alayhi salam, and he tried to divert the Euphrates over the grave. He wanted to kill everything that had a scent of Shi'ism over it. We are a minority living in a majority for what was the longest time, alhamdulillah, not so much today, although that's still a reality, anti-Shia establishment. We shouldn't be alive. It was only 20 years ago we couldn't walk to Abu Abdullah. It was banned. Anyone caught walking would be persecuted, would be detained, if not killed. How many stories have we heard in Iraq? Individuals, family members that I know personally, persecuted just because they walked to Imam al-Hussein at that horrible establishment. And imagine if it was tough back then, wait until we read Al-Mutawakkil, Harun, Ma'mun, all of these individuals, how they treated the Shia. Later on, the Ottomans, later on, all of these establishments. It's only because of Sahib al-Zaman's presence that the Shia are still alive. He is very much active. He is involved. That's why the narration says, on the day of judgment, when all the humans are gathered, they see Sahib al-Amr. A majority of them will say, we saw him, but we didn't know who he was. A majority of humanity. He is very much around, very much alive. How come I don't see him directly working? How come you don't see Allah directly working? He is God's hand on earth. How Allah describes it as Yadullah fawqa aydihim. God's hand is above every other hand. And the sword, the real sword of Allah, is this man who will remove injustice, fill the world with justice, just as his holy grandfather Rasulullah predicted. Sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Sallu ala Muhammad wa Muhammad. And ultimately, as we gather on the final night of our programs, let's observe very briefly the relationship between Sahib al-Amr and his grandfather Abu Abdullah. In Ziyarat al-Nahiya al-Muqaddasah, this beautiful ziyarah, let's all make an effort to read it, inshaAllah. Insha'Allah ta'ala. These are the words of Sahib al-Zaman to Abu Abdullah. He has a line in there. How much do we love Imam al-Hussein? When you read that line, you will see true love for Abu Abdullah. لِيَبْكِيَنَّ عَلَيْكَ بَدَلَ الدُّمُوعِ دَمًا. And I would cry for you, rather than tears, blood. The Imam of our time is saying this to Imam al-Hussein. It doesn't make me satisfied when I cry only regular tears. Oh, I wish, inshallah, say it, inshallah, inshallah. Oh, I wish I could cry tears of blood for you, Abu Abdullah. Does he mean this literally? No. The Imam doesn't mean, I would rather cry blood for you. What he means is what we do in your name and for your sake is never enough. But rather it should be blood rather than tears. From a basic standpoint, someone cries, and we cry almost every other day for the most petty reasons. Tears are not necessarily the most genuine thing unless they're done genuinely. But when you bleed, it's something greater. Because your blood is your lifeline. Literally it is. And the Imam says, I'd rather cry blood for you after all that you went through, my grandfather. And another relationship between these two individuals, number one, he's from the line of Abu Abdullah. Number two, they're both born in the month of Sha'ban. Number three, the memory that Sahib al-Zaman has for Abu Abdullah, it's as if he was in Karbala himself. How could you say you'd rather cry blood than tears after hearing stories? Some of us, unfortunately, we come to majalis 13 nights, not one tear is shed. We try so hard. And the Imam is saying, I wish it was blood and not tears. And do you know who exemplified this the most? The person who exemplified this the most was Jabir ibn Abdullah Al-Ansari. Jabir was not in Karbala. But look at how his tears represented his heart genuinely. We're talking about genuine tears. You want to see a genuine tear? Don't look further than Jabir bin Abdullah Al-Ansari. This companion of Rasulullah, companion of Amir al-Mu'mineen, companion of Fatima al-Zahra. Have you read Hadith al-Kisa? Who narrates Hadith al-Kisa? And Jabir and Fatima. Jabir narrates saying, I heard az-Zahra. Allahu Akbar. You are a direct disciple of my lady Zahra. How close were you to the Ahlul Bayt, O Jabir bin Abdullah? To the point Rasulullah says, O Jabir, you will meet my grandchild Muhammad al-Baqir. Send him my salams. Companion of al-Zahra, of al-Hassan, Hussein, Ali ibn al-Hussein, Muhammad al-Baqir. This great individual. In the 61st year after Hijrah, he was blind. He couldn't make it to Karbala. He was blind. He was old too. He had a servant by the name of Atiyya. Atiyya is a companion of Imam Ali, a scholar of Ahlul Bayt. And he tells Atiyya, I want to know what happened. The massacre in Karbala already occurred. News reached him. So he says, what happened? Atiyya says, I don't know. But we heard there was a massacre. Do you know what Jabir says? He says a line that we all wish can come real and come true. And we all wish to say it right now. He says, take me to Karbala. How we all want to say that phrase every single day. Take me to Karbala. Brothers and sisters, make the niyyah now. Say, Ya Allah, take me to Karbala. Jabir says to Atiyya, I'm blind. Lead me to Karbala. From Medina, they set off. Jabir bin Abdullah, outskirts of Karbala, says, stop, are we almost there? Atiyya says, yes, we're almost there. Give it a few more minutes, we'll reach where Hussein is buried. Jabir says, then I need to do one thing first. He jumps in the Euphrates River, ghusl. A lesson for all of us. When you meet Imam al-Hussein, inshallah, or any Imam for that matter, clean yourself. You're not meeting anybody. But the Imam is dead. No, he's not dead. He's alive. وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ قُتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتًا بَلْ أَحْيَاءٌ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ يُرْزَقُونَ. Would you meet the president or the prime minister in dirty clothes? No. Then what about the Imam of your time? And he's not dead. He's alive. He's watching. أَشْهَدُ أَنَّكَ تَسْمَعَ كَلَامِي وَتَرُدَّ سَلَامِي. I bear witness that you hear my words and respond to my salam. Question, how are you able to respond? If you're not alive, it shows the Imam is alive. So when you go to say salam to him, to kiss that dharih, dress nice, fragrance, you get more ajr, more hasanat. Do ghusl, clean yourself, like Jabir bin Abdullah, the first Zayr of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. He perfumes himself, grabs the hand of Atiyah. Atiyah, show me Hussein's grave. They get close. He says, are we here? He says, yes, my master, we're here. Jabir jumps on the grave of Hussein, throws himself on that floor, saying, Wa Husseina, Wa Husseina, Wa Husseina. Oh Hussein, is this the behavior of the beloved when he hears his beloved and he's not able to respond? Hussein, you are my beloved and I love you. I am calling for you and you're not responding to me. Atiyah says, oh Jabir, people I see are coming. Jabir says, wait, if it's the men of Ibn Ziyad, let's go. But if it's somebody else, keep me with Hussein. Atiyah goes, comes back. Jabir says, Atiyah, who is it? Because he's blind, he can't see. Atiyah says, oh Jabir, stand up and say salam to Imam Zainul Abidin and Sayyida Zainab, for they have returned to visit their beloved Hussein. Jabir goes to Imam Zainul Abidin and he says, my master, what happened in Karbala? And the poet says it very beautifully. He's explaining to us, the poet, the conversation between Jabir bin Abdullah al-Ansari and Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi as-salam. Jabir says, Master, oh Master, what is the Karbala tale? The response from Imam Zainul Abidin, Jabir, oh Jabir, this is where Hussein fell. Let's repeat these words, inshallah. This is the final night, and may Allah bless you. If there is anything we have emphasized in these last nights, it's to spread and plant the seed of the love of Hussein in our youth. Let's recite these English words, brothers and sisters, just for their cause and for our generation, and may Allah accept it. The words and lines are two. Let's conclude all of our majadis with these two lines. Master, O Master, what is the Karbala tale? Let's hear it. Master, O Master, what is the Karbala tale? Imam Zainul Abidin responds, Jabir, O Jabir, this is where Hussein fell. Master, O Master, Jabir, O Jabir, this is where? Master, O Master, what is the Karbala tale? Jabir, O Jabir, this is where Hussein fell. Again, Master, O Master, what is Jabir, oh Jabir, this is where Hussein fell. I had an uncle by the name of Abbas. He was full of charm even when he lost his arm. I had an uncle by the name of Abbas. He was full of charm even when he lost his arm. Imam Zainul Abidin is telling Jabir what happened. This actually took place. I had a cousin by the name of Qasim, the son of Al-Hassan. They severed his every limb. I had a cousin by the name of Al-Qasim, the son of Al-Hassan. They severed his every limb. Master, oh Master, what is the Karbala tale? Jabir, oh Jabir, this is where Hussein fell. And my baby brother Abdullah, they did not not spare. Now he's with Al-Zahra, tending to his every care. And my baby brother Abdullah they did not spare. And he's with Al-Zahra, tending to his every care. Master, oh Master, what? Jabir, oh Jabir, this is where I had a brother by the name of Akbar. His beauty was best, even with a spear in his chest. I had a brother by the name of Akbar. His beauty was best, even with a spear in his chest. Master, oh Master, what is the Karbala tale? Jabir, oh Jabir, this is where Hussein fell. And my Aunt Zainab, they asked her, what did you see? She responded with, I saw nothing but beauty. And my Aunt Zainab, they asked her, what did you see? She responded with what? I saw nothing but beauty. Master, oh Master, what is the Karbala tale? Jabir, oh Jabir, may Allah bless you. This is, but Master Hussein, did he get any rest? Oh Jabir, he did. After Shimr sat on his chest. But Master Hussein, Jabir's asking about everybody. There's one more person, Hussein, what about him? Did he get any rest? Oh Jabir, he did. After Shimr sat on his chest. Master, oh Master, what is the Karbala tale? Jabir, oh Jabir, this is where Hussein, this is where Hussein fell. Allahumma inna nas'aluka wa nad'uk bismika al-azim al-a'zam al-azz al-ajall al-akram 10 times. Ya Allahu, Ya Allah. Raise the hands. Ya Allah, Ya Allahu. The last night. Louder. Ya Allah, Ya Allahu, Ya Allahu, Ya Allah, Ya Allahu, Ya Rahmanu, Ya Rahim. Allahumma ya muqallib al-qulub wal-absar, thabbit qulubana ala dinik. Oh Allah, we ask you on the neck of Hussein to grant us the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein in this dunya, and to grant us the shafa'ah of Imam al-Hussein in the akhirah, and to cure on behalf of Imam Zainul Abidin all of our sick ones, Ya Allah. Brothers and sisters, I would like to mention a few words. This is my last night with you. I ask you to forgive me for any shortcoming, and there are a few names, honorable mentions I have to mention here. And we cannot end this majalis without recognizing all the hard work from our dear respected brothers, our dear brother Arif, may Allah bless him, aka the backbone of this center, mashallah, Sayyid Ali Kadhimi, Sayyid Rudha, Dr. Yasser, may Allah bless you, and Brother Irshad, and our dear respected brothers. If there is anybody I have missed, then please forgive me, and you know who you are, and your reward is not from me. لا نريد منكم جزاء ولا شكورا. Allah will bless you for the love and service you did. Those who prepared the food, the women, may Allah bless them. Those who cleaned, the volunteers, everyone that had that volunteer shirt, may Allah bless you. For the sake of Imam al-Hussein, may Allah bless you for that. And those who came by, who turned on the majlis and the cameras and the systems, all this will be mentioned. Imam Hussein will not forget that service you did for him. And Zahra, salamullah alayha, will not forget that as well. The hadith mentions Rasulullah cries as he kisses Hussein. She, salamullah alayha, walks. She says, why do you cry? He says, my ummah will kill him. She begins to cry. She asks, will there be anybody to remember and cry for him? He says, yes, the Shia, those who love him will cry, and those who erect these majalis will be mentioned on the day of judgment by Lady Fatima. The little that you did is actually not little. That's why the true MVPs are those in the back who are working, preparing, cooking, cleaning, and getting things set. May Allah bless you all. Again, forgive me for any shortcomings. This is my last night with you. And I ask you to keep me, as I am your humble servant, all of you, in your du'as. May Allah bring us together, inshaAllah ta'ala, to be at the service of the Ahlul Bayt and no one else. And may Allah bless you all. وَإِلَىٰ آخِرُ دَعْوَانَا وَالْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ وَصَلِّ اللَّهُمَّ عَلَىٰ مُحَمَّدٍ وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. الله. الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مأتم الحسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين.